What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name After Sound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, we have an official announcement from Dave McCoy about survival mode, and it looks like it will be back on the menu very shortly. So let me just read through this and then talk through some of my thoughts. Dave says, we are pleased to announce that we plan on restarting survival mode after a brief pause on June 17th. After weighing the issues carefully, we've come to the conclusion that the two changes we've made will alter the mode in a way that we feel is beneficial for long-term success. First, they will be adding team liquidity bots to ensure more match liquidity at all levels of play. And second, we are adjusting the SPS earnings cap so that rewards will better reflect the intended earnings at each level and ensure that everyone is always incentivized to increase their rating. Please note that we will continue to monitor and make changes to the mode if and when it is necessary in the future. Our goal is to create a fun, long-term, sustainable game mode that creates value for the Splinterlands ecosystem. Thanks and have a fantastic day. So, this, at least the first part, seems relatively straightforward. They're going to be adding liquidity bots, which is something that we have seen in modern format. I don't believe that they're in wild format, but just in any places where there's just not a lot of cards being, or not a lot of matches being played, it makes sense to add these bots. And I know people are going to feel one way or another about bots in general, right? Whether they're bot farms, whether they're bot accounts or automated accounts, right? Or whether they're team liquidity bots. It is what it is. The team is adding it in. This is what they feel is going to be beneficial. We've seen it in modern format, and I don't know that it's been detrimental in modern format. If anything, the bots have gotten a little bit more difficult to beat from when I was facing them. But ultimately, you know, we'll see if that ends up making survival mode a better place to play by creating hopefully more divisions within, like competitive divisions within the mode. Now, the second part, we are adjusting the SPS earnings cap so that the rewards will better reflect the intended earnings at each level and ensure that everyone is always incentivized to increase their rating. I'm trying to get some clarity on this, but my understanding of it, just reading it off the top here, is they're going to push rewards further to the top, right? They're always trying to get people to play at higher levels and level up their cards or get more cards, right? So the idea is you want to increase the earnings at the higher level. But that kind of goes against what a lot of people were upset about to begin with when it came to survival mode, if I'm understanding this correctly. As somebody who doesn't play survival mode regularly, I'll do a couple of battles here or there throughout the season, usually towards the end of the season, just to use up a bunch of my cards. But my understanding was that the issue is there's so few people that are earning pretty much all of the SPS from that. Now, these tend to be whales in the ecosystem, so it's not like, okay, it's not, the SPS isn't going to a bad place necessarily, meaning that it's not going to somebody who's going to just dump on the market or somebody who's trying to extract. You have a lot of people who've invested a lot in terms of the cards, right, throughout all the collections, throughout all of history, the history of Splinterlands. And so therefore, this is a way in which they can earn more rewards, get use out of those cards, you know, as opposed to putting them on land, for example. And again, I don't view that as necessarily bad, but I do wonder how they're going to adjust the rewards. And maybe we'll get like an official post on this at some point. I'm recording this on the 11th. That's when is June 11th, which is when this announcement was made. So there is another 6 days or so, which will be the next... I guess it won't coincide with the start of the season because I think there's only like 3 or 4 days left in the season, but it will be during the next season that this does come online on the 17th. So just wanted to give you that bit of a heads up about survival mode. Again, I want them to make survival mode more appealing for players across all of the players across all skill levels, right? Or skill levels, or actually it's not really skill levels. It's more so like card collection levels. Now, for me, I have a lot of older cards. Well, I shouldn't even say older cards. I have a lot of like level 1 cards, stuff that I have from the Chaos Legion era, which, you know, I haven't even maxed out my deck fully, but I have a bunch of extra summoners that I'm not using, or I have a bunch of extra cards, or war cards especially. And so it's not that I want, for example, to farm the system, but what I was noticing is when I was going in, if I didn't have certain, you know, cards available, I was going up against people who had completely maxed out decks, right? Which is kind of what the problem with modern format was before the rotation. You just had so many, you know, top heavy decks. And I genuinely think, and I think I made a video about this a little while back, but I genuinely think that's just what's going to happen with Splinterlands. Like, no matter what, I mean, unless we get a really, really large influx of users that love playing at all different levels, or basically increasing the sample size, because right now what this game has is a bunch of diehard players, which is awesome, right? You have that kind of community, you have that kind of like diehard support, but they all tend to get max level decks, and then all of a sudden anybody who's coming in and playing at a lower or intermediate competitive level, they just get trounced by anybody at the top, right? Because everybody else has fully maxed decks or fully maxed cards or whatever the case is. So until and unless we can get way more people that come in and are just like, you know what, I want to play it at the novice level, or I want to play at whatever level, we have to do this team liquidity bots, right? In order to make it appealing for somebody to come in and just be like, you know what, I want to participate in survival mode. I only have X amount of cards, or they're only leveled up to X amount, right? Again, it's not even necessarily about the rewards, although yes, everybody is driven by rewards, but it's more so about the competitive nature of play. Now, again, people are going to look at survival mode and say, well, this is just Botland 2.0, right? So why would anybody enjoy it? But there are people who do enjoy it, right? There are people who do enjoy it, and I think that it adds a different level or a different dynamic to how people manage their collections. Might not be for you, and especially for the cynical folks out there, they're going to look at this and say, well, it's just, people are just looking to farm the system, whether they're, long-term players or not, they're just trying to get as much SPS, and I mean, yeah, that's kind of the goal, right? So I don't see anything necessarily wrong with this, but I am curious to see what the numbers will look like if they end up sharing that at some point. But that is all I have for you guys. Keep an eye out for survival mode coming back on June 17th. That is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.